Years ago, in February, this movie named Alita Battle Angel released in the theaters. And it's 2022. And outside of a small group of people on Twitter, the world has collectively forgotten about this movie's existence. Why? Why has the world forgotten about this movie's existence? Dense. So, we'll be going over the reasons why. One, it didn't really make that much money over in domestic markets. Some movies do make not a lot of money in domestic markets and still become successful. For example, Fight Club. Fight Club was a commercial and box office failure, but over the next decade, Fight Club became a classic instead of a cult classic. A lot of people loved the movie, loved the characters and storytelling. The same thing can be said of the movie Blade Runner as well. But 3 years later, and most of the people who talk about Alita don't mostly say we want a part two. That's basically most of the people who talk about the movie now. You don't see the movie being posted in memes. You don't see them being discussed except for some mention of James Cameron's movies that he isn't even the director of. He's only involved with everything else besides the director. Again, there are some other strange movies that James Cameron had involvement in. For example, Rambo 2. You don't see Alita merchandise everywhere. You don't see companies clamoring to say, you know what, Alita is a very popular character, so therefore we must make plushies, action figures, and other merchandise related to the series. There are some merchandise, but they're either on the Alita store, which I don't know it's still up, or on Estee and sites like that, which is fan made stuff. Okay, and if we compare it to the Sonic movie, okay, Alita to the Sonic movie. Okay, the Sonic movie again is based off a pre-existing series. It's based off a pre-existing character. People know who Sonic is, so they can easily market the Sonic movie because they say, you know what, people know who Sonic is, and fans loved the Sonic movie. The critics didn't really, but the fans loved this and its sequel. Which the Sonic movie got a sequel, and now it's getting a third movie and a spin-off, and it's being turned into a full-blown movie franchise that can literally stand up on its own two legs. Sonic does not need the help of fans because they know that the director and the studio making the movie is almost confident behind the Sonic movie franchise. Because again, a character can be recognizable and the movies can still fail. Power Rangers 2018 is an example of that. A lot of people know who the Power Rangers are, but nobody watched the movie. Therefore, it's not getting its sequels. But again, the Sonic movie is basically, if you're a Sonic fan, you'll likely love the movie. If you're not a Sonic fan, you probably won't like the movie. And again, that's probably why the second movie doesn't really have too much of good rigs at the box office, because again, the movie is mostly made for Sonic fans. And those are mostly the people who are going to see the movie anyways. But again, Sonic movie 2 is expected to do the same as the first movie worldwide. So, but yeah, unlike Sonic, Alita was expected to flop. Again, one site said Sonic was gonna flop because they literally said no one likes Sonic, but that's proven false already. But Alita is based off an obscure manga. It's like in terms of anime and manga, why would you go for a manga that nobody has heard of over Dragon Ball, Naruto, One Piece, Death Note, or more recent mangas like My Hero Academia, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, with characters that people actually recognize, and franchises that even anime fans would recognize. The movie still made $400 million worldwide, and that's mostly because of China. And China and Hollywood are not really in favors right now. So that means a sequel to the movie would likely flop at the box office. Considering that typically sequels would have the same budget as the originals, and no people, but you're gonna tone down the budget, blah blah blah. But the second movie would probably cost around 150 to $200 million. So they assume that a sequel does 20% less or does the same as the first, $85 million domestically, to $90 million domestically, and it makes around $150 million internationally. That means where if you like the movie or not, the movie would be a box office failure because you wouldn't have those Chinese numbers to save the movie. China literally had to save this movie from losing money by making $130 million in China. So, and considering that Marvel can't even make movies in China anymore, and China hates Hollywood now, well, Alita 2 will be seen just as another Hollywood production, and science people are like, oh, but we hate America, therefore we're not gonna watch this movie because we hate America. Okay, and and if you really think about it, but that's like James Cameron's other work with Avatar, which made significantly more money than Alita. Outside of talking about Avatar: The Way of the Water, no one really gives a crap about Avatar. You don't see memes of Avatar. You don't see people going around praising it. Okay? Which that means Avatar will be a cult classic movie as well. Whether if you liked Avatar or not, because nobody really talks about Avatar anymore. Avatar was an okay movie. I thought the visuals were good, but visuals do not make a movie. Okay? We just have to ask Captain Marvel for that. Which Captain Marvel is a city ass movie. Or you can as well ask Batman vs. Superman, another city ass, of course, comic book movie that is. Actually, that movie has bad CGI compared to Captain Marvel, so Batman vs. Superman just sucks overall. Okay? Or, we have movies that have pretty spectacles, pretty, looking CGI. The Last Jedi, sequel trilogy. Really good looking CGI, really good looking graphics, but the movie still sucks. Okay, because the story still sucks. Captain Marvel's story sucks, and the Last Jedi story sucks. Okay, and outside of the cult following the movie has received, and compared to, let's just say, other fandoms, okay, let's compare Alita to Dragon Ball. I know Dragon Ball is much bigger, but you don't see Alita channel. The largest Alita channels have like 5,000 subscribers to maybe people who mention it once or twice on bigger channels, but the largest channels have like 5,000, 6,000 subscribers. Okay, which means the fan base is not that big. And even the subreddit, which has only around 10,000 subscribers, the Facebook group only has like 5,000. We compare it to Dragon Ball, where Dragon Ball has hundreds of thousands of subreddits, multiple YouTube channels of hundreds of thousands of people, and basically a subreddit with like hundreds of thousands of people. So that means Dragon Ball is clearly a bigger franchise, a clearly bigger series. Or you can go look at other characters, okay? Or other game anime as well. Naruto has millions of worldwide fans. One Piece, even more obscure animes like Darling in the Franxx, which is mostly popular because of Zero Two, and that's probably the only reason why the show is popular. Well, if you compare Zero Two's fan base to Rita's fan base, Zero Two has a much bigger fan base, which means by logic, if we're gonna make an anime movie, live action movie, that movie like Darling in the Franxx, or especially Dragon Ball, taking another chance at Dragon Ball, making the director of Shang-Chi direct it, basically making it an actual Dragon Ball movie, not this whatever pile of crap we got with Evolution, well, as well. And most people say anime-related movies suck, but then they always ignore that this movie exists. Even if you look up best CGI characters list, there are tons of lists basically ignoring this movie's entire existence. Meanwhile, putting Marvel on that list, which Marvel does have some pretty good CGI with Groot and Thanos, being the notable ones, and of course Rocket the Raccoon. But overall, this movie has basically become forgotten by the public conscious. You don't see people posting memes all the time. Many of the YouTube channels have either mostly died and moved to Twitter, most of the Twitter accounts don't really have many followers. Again, my Twitter account only has 25 followers, but I just started using Twitter again, and I post other stuff related to movies. And even though a lot of the Alita YouTube channels have started talking about other movies like the Batman, Turning Red, and Sonic movie 2, and most of the other people who pushed for the Alita sequel when the movie came out, well, they stopped talking about Alita as well. So, and moved on to other movies like Star Wars and Marvel, and all that's basically what is coming out recently. So, this movie, the is basically becoming forgotten. Unless some studio says, okay, we're making a Alita sequel, well, it is very likely that this movie will become another forgotten movie in the coming years. It will likely become less and less and less people will be talking about it coming overall, especially as more and more movies come out over time. You know, because movies have to have a lasting impact, okay? Good or bad, okay? People are always going to be talking about the Lion King remake. First of all, it made so much money. Second of all, the Lion King is recognizable. And third of all, a lot of people hate the Lion King remake, so therefore they'll be continuing to talk about it. Alita Battle Angel, just like other movies like Booksmart, will become forgotten as well. Which Booksmart is another movie that has basically become forgotten at this point. Literally, no one talks about Booksmart, despite every major critic saying the movie is going to become a classic and a staple of comedy. It seems that woke comedies just don't sell anymore, which is the most hilarious thing in the world. I wouldn't be surprised if more people will be talking about Black Widow, either about how bad it is, or trying to defend the movie, than Alita, the even though a lot of people said the Black Widow movie flopped, which as well, and definitely the Sonic movies, which I compared this movie to. The Sonic movies, did pretty well at the box office, and it's all because the studio listened to the fans. Okay, I think the main reason why they haven't made a Alita sequel is because most of the people who have been demanding for an Alita sequel, really, it's just a very small group of people. It isn't a really, it's not really a big, massive group of people. If you compare it to people wanting a Sonic sequel, which doesn't based out the box office, did pretty well, I think more people would want to see a third Sonic movie as well. And again, Sonic has a huge fan base worldwide. Sonic has hundreds of thousands of fans worldwide as well. And I bet there are lots of people who like the movie Alita, but just either forgot about it, didn't care for it, or moved on from it. Most of the people who like Alita is a small group of people who think it's the pinnacle of filmmaking and the pinnacle of CGI, pinnacle of characters, and pinnacle of everything. Even then, most people are forgetting about it. Alita is still a very great movie. I still think you should see it if you have not seen it already. But most of the Alita fandom, has kind of just died down over the next couple years. And I do hope one day this movie gets a sequel. I do hope one day Rampage gets a sequel as well, because I like the game Rampage. But doesn't mean it's gonna get a sequel. Just because you want something to happen doesn't mean it will happen. Ben. So overall, I think this movie is probably gonna be a benchmark for anime movies coming in the future, and I think movies like if they make an actual good Dragon Ball movie, it might be like Sonic 2.0, and everybody will probably be talking about Dragon Ball movie for decades because Dragon Ball movies age very well. Would age very well, but again, a movie that doesn't age well is a movie that mostly is just not good, or fans turn on it, or a movie that simply becomes forgotten in the history of film. And Alita is probably gonna be one of those movies, unless the fans do something to revive the movie's popularity, like it was in February of 2019, but it's very unlikely it will. I don't see Alita becoming like Shrek or Cars in the future. Again, Shrek and Cars are movies that appeal towards all audiences. And there's countless memes made of Shrek and Cars, still made to this day. There's not many memes being made of Alita this day, or at least any popular memes. So that's basically about this video. Goodbye.